You know that feeling when you're sitting in a group of people, everyone's laughing, everyone's talking, and you're there too? Physically, yeah, but mentally, you're somewhere completely else. You're watching the whole thing like you're behind a glass wall. And the weirdest part? You don't even know how to explain that to anyone, because the moment you try, they just look at you like you said something in a different language. Yeah, that feeling. What if I told you that's not a flaw? What if that's actually one of the rarest things a human brain can do? And most people who have it spend their entire lives thinking something is wrong with them. Because here's the thing nobody tells you growing up. There are certain personality types, rare ones, that are so fundamentally different in how they process the world that the people around them genuinely cannot understand them. Not because those people are bad, not because you're broken, but because your brain is literally wired to experience reality at a different frequency than most humans around you. And today, we're going to talk about the 5 signs that you might actually be one of those people. Not in a you're special and magical kind of way. In a real, research-backed, this is actually how your psychology works kind of way. So stay with me, because by sign number 3, I think a lot of you are going to feel something you haven't felt in a really long time. Like someone finally gets it. Okay, so sign number 1. And this one, I need you to really sit with this one. You feel emotions that don't have names. Not just strong emotions, not just I feel a lot. I mean, you feel entire experiences inside yourself that you've looked for words for and just couldn't find them. You felt a specific kind of loneliness that only exists at 2 a.m. when you're not even sad, you're just aware. You felt something when you hear a particular song that isn't quite nostalgia, isn't quite sadness, isn't quite happiness. It's this weird emotional cocktail that hits you in the chest and you have no idea what to call it. Psychologists actually have a term for the capacity to experience these kinds of unnamed, complex emotional states. They call it emotional granularity. And research from Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett at Northeastern University found that only a small percentage of people actually experience high emotional granularity naturally. Most people feel mad, sad, happy, scared. That's their emotional range. But people with rare personality types, they feel things that require dictionaries from other languages to even describe. Have you ever come across the word sonder? It's not even in most English dictionaries. It was coined by a writer to describe that sudden realization that every single person walking past you on the street has a life just as vivid and complicated as yours. And the reason that word had to be invented? Because a certain kind of person kept feeling that thing and had no English word for it. If you've ever felt sonder, that exact thing, you're already in a very small group of people. And here's the part that makes this sign actually hard to live with. When you try to talk about these feelings, people either oversimplify them back to you. Oh, you're just overthinking, you're just tired. Or they look genuinely confused, like you're speaking in metaphors they can't decode. So over time, most people with this trait stop talking about how they feel. Not because they don't want connection, because they've learned that most conversations don't have enough room for what's going on inside them. If that hit a little too close, keep watching, because it gets more specific. Sign number 2, you've always had this thing where you absorb the emotions of the people around you. And I don't mean you're empathetic in a general way. I mean, you walk into a room and you can feel the tension before anyone says a word. You sit next to someone who's having a bad day, and by the end of the conversation, you feel like you're having their bad day. You leave certain social situations feeling physically drained, like you've been running a marathon, even if you were just sitting in a coffee shop for an hour. This is actually a neurological phenomenon. Research published in the journal Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience found that people with what's called a hyperactive mirror neuron system literally simulate the emotional states of others inside their own nervous system at an unusually high intensity. The mirror neurons, which are the brain cells responsible for empathy, fire so strongly in these individuals that the line between my emotion and their emotion gets genuinely blurry.
And this is where it gets interesting. Most people think being highly empathetic is just a personality preference. Like, some people are warm and some people are cold. But for people with this kind of rare wiring, it's not a choice. It's automatic. It's happening whether they want it to or not. You know how some people can leave a bad conversation and just shake it off? Like, ugh, that was annoying. And then they're just fine? You've probably watched people do that and felt confused, almost envious. Because when you leave a bad conversation, it follows you. It lives in your body for hours, sometimes days. And what's fascinating and a little heartbreaking is that this same quality that makes you exhausted in crowded rooms is the exact same quality that makes you the person people call when they're falling apart at midnight. Because they know, without even being able to explain why, that you will actually feel what they're going through. Not just nod along, actually feel it. That's rare, genuinely rare. And it comes with a cost that most people around you will never fully understand.
Now, sign number 3, and this one tends to surprise people because it sounds like a contradiction at first. You crave deep connection more than almost anything, and you're also one of the loneliest people you know. Those two things sound like they can't both be true, but they absolutely can, and here's why. Most social interaction that exists in the world, casual conversation, small talk, surface-level friendships, doesn't satisfy what your brain is actually hungry for. Your brain wants depth. It wants real. It wants the kind of conversation where you both walk away feeling like you understand something about existence you didn't understand before. And those conversations, they're rare, like genuinely hard to find.
Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the guy who developed the concept of flow state, found in his research that people who have a particularly strong need for meaning and depth in their social connections often report feeling more lonely in large social groups than they do when they're completely alone. Because being alone is neutral, but being surrounded by people while still feeling unseen, that's a specific kind of pain. Think about the last time you were at a party or a social gathering, and you ended up gravitating to one corner of the room, finding one person and talking to them for 2 hours about something real, while everyone else was doing the group thing. That wasn't you being antisocial. That was you finding the only conversation in the room that your brain could actually metabolize.
And the loneliness piece? This is important. Because a lot of people with this rare personality type have been told their whole lives that they're too intense or too deep or too much. And some of them have actually started to believe it. They've shrunk themselves down. They've learned to do small talk, even though it feels hollow. They've laughed at surface conversations they found boring because it was easier than explaining why they needed more. And inside, somewhere under all that adapting, there's this quiet, persistent ache of not being fully known by anyone. If you're feeling called out right now, good. That means you're not alone in this, which is kind of the whole point.
Sign number 4. You think in patterns, connections, and whys, even when nobody asked. Let me give you a real example of what I mean. Someone tells you a story about their coworker who snapped at them in a meeting. Most people respond to the surface. That's so rude. What did you say? But your brain immediately goes, wait, why did they snap? What's happening in their life right now? What's the pattern here? Does this happen when they're stressed? Is this actually about this person, or is it about something else entirely?
You can't help it. Your brain refuses to stay on the surface of things. It digs, it connects, it asks why until it gets to something that feels like it actually explains the full picture. This is called systemic thinking, or integrative complexity, and research from Yale psychologist Philip Tetlock found that people who naturally think at higher levels of integrative complexity are significantly rarer than most people assume. And they often find conventional conversations frustrating because those conversations stop too early for them.
But here's the specific way this makes life hard. When you're the person who sees the full system, the pattern, the deep why behind everything, you sometimes know things about situations before other people do. You see where something is heading. You sense the emotional undercurrent in a relationship before it surfaces. You notice the thing nobody's saying. And when you say it out loud, people don't always receive it well. Sometimes they think you're overthinking. Sometimes they think you're being paranoid. And sometimes, later, weeks or months later, everything you sensed turns out to be exactly right. And you're sitting there thinking, I knew. I said it. And nobody listened. That's a specific kind of frustrating that only a very particular type of person experiences. And it happens not because you're negative or you catastrophize. It's because your brain is genuinely processing more layers of information than the average conversation accounts for.
And sign number 5, the last one. And I saved this one for last because, in my opinion, it's the one that ties all the others together. You have always felt like you were here for something, but you can't explain what. Not in a grandiose, I'm destined for greatness way. More like a quiet, persistent sense that your existence means something beyond just going through the motions. That you're supposed to understand something, or create something, or help someone in a way that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And this feeling has been with you for as long as you can remember. Maybe since you were a kid sitting at a window watching the world, wondering what it all was. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps and went on to write one of the most important books in psychology, Man's Search for Meaning, he argued that the primary driver of human psychology isn't pleasure or power, it's meaning. And that the people who feel the absence of meaning most acutely are often the same people who are capable of creating it most powerfully.
But here's what nobody talks about. This sense of purpose, this almost aching need to do something that matters, it can feel really, really heavy when your life is in a phase where you haven't found that thing yet. When you're in a job that feels hollow, or a relationship that doesn't feel real, or a daily routine that feels like you're moving through fog. You look around at people who seem perfectly content with ordinary life, and you feel this strange combination of envy and confusion, because you want to want what they want, but you can't. Something in you won't let you settle. And I want to say something to you directly about this one. That restlessness, that's not a problem. That's not ingratitude. That's your psychology pointing you somewhere. The people who changed things in science, in art, in how we understand what it means to be human, they almost all described this same feeling. Not like they were special, like they were searching. Like something in them refused to stop asking questions that didn't have easy answers.
You're one of those people. And maybe you've spent a lot of your life thinking that made you difficult or weird or exhausting to be around. But I want to leave you with this. The world has never been short of people who fit in easily. It has always been in desperate need of people who feel too much, think too deeply, and refuse to live on the surface of things. That's you. And the fact that most people don't understand you, that's not a reflection of your worth. That's a reflection of your rarity.
If today's video made you feel seen in a way you weren't expecting, if even one of these signs made you stop and think, wait, that's actually me, then you already know this channel is something different. We don't do surface stuff here. We go deep every single week. So if you haven't already, subscribe. Not for the numbers, but because somewhere out there, there's someone watching their next video tonight who needs to feel exactly what you just felt. Like someone finally gets it. Be here for that. We'll see you in the next one.